guys, it's Jessie with the Iowa Wedding Podcast. I'm back for more, and this week we're doing tips and tricks for wedding trends in 2025 and 2026. I'm really excited about this episode because we're going to talk about trends that we're going to see coming up and moving forward. So let's get into it. So one that I think is really fun is the unconventional venue. You can absolutely still rent a venue for your wedding, but something that I'm seeing a lot is people are renting maybe art galleries or historic lofts, nice gardens, things like that. And I think that these shoot really well. I think that if you pick a place that's a little bit more unique or something that's off the beaten path or maybe you wouldn't think of as a wedding venue, you can get a really fun result. The other thing about this is that you can fit something to your personality. So instead of just, this is a wedding venue, it's just all white and kind of generic, you can find something that kind of suits you and your partner, something that tells your love story, and something that's unique just to you guys. You will see this in venues now. A lot of venues are incorporating different things that make them stand out. And so when you go to look at venues and you're touring, make sure you think about things that speak to you, speak to who you are as a person and who you are as a couple. So someone that's doing this really well locally here for us is the Vineyard at St. Charles. So the Vineyard at St. Charles used to be a vineyard. They don't make their wine there anymore, but they still do have all of the beautiful grapes, the grapevines. They also have a pond and a lot of rolling hills. They've got wooded areas. So when you go out there for your wedding, you've got all of these different backgrounds that you can use in your pictures, so you can give your gallery a lot of variety. Last time I was there, they even had a boat, so you and your spouse can go out in this beautiful boat on the lake and take photos. It's absolutely gorgeous. They even have like a rope swing that hangs from a tree in the back and all these woods, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Another place you could go locally is behind the art center is the Rose Garden. The Rose Garden is absolutely beautiful, and it's really great for budget brides because it's only $500 to rent, and I believe last time I checked that was for 2 hours. So you can host your whole ceremony there, get some nice couples photos and family photos, and then take your reception somewhere else. So that's another great place if you're looking for somewhere just really unique and beautiful outdoors and you want to try to stick within a smaller budget. I think the Rose Garden is a great place. The Chateau at White Oak is another place that's doing this really well. The inside of their venue is absolutely stunning, and outside they have this beautiful pergola and they've got walkways and some grapevines there as well, and it's very scenic. So I would definitely recommend, if you're a bride that's looking for a venue locally, any of those venues are going to be a really good place to look. And for the historic lofts in Des Moines, we do have Loft DSM or DSM Loft. And that's a historic loft that's also a venue, so that's going to be a great place to look as well. Destination weddings and elopements is another thing that I think we're going to see a lot more of in 2026 and beyond. I don't think this trend is going to slow down. Personally, I have decided to hop on this trend, so me and my fiance and our parents and siblings are going to go to Yellowstone, and we're going to have our ceremony in the Tetons and then spend the week there just hanging out and exploring. And that's what worked for us. We didn't want to do the large wedding, but when we get back, we are going to do a reception so we can have extended family and friends celebrate with us at the reception. I think that's a trend that you're going to see a lot of, and I think this is a really cool thing to do for Midwest brides, because even though I love Iowa and I think it's beautiful here, there's maybe not quite the scenery that you get in other states or even other countries. So whether you're staying within the states or going out of the country, I think it's a really fun option to go somewhere that maybe speaks to you, speaks to your spouse, whether that's a mountain elopement or a beach elopement. There's a lot of awesome places you can go. This is another way to keep your costs a little lower with the actual ceremony. And then again, come back, have your reception, and celebrate with all your extended family and your friends. So if you're going to host a wedding locally and you're not totally sure how you want to lay things out as far as design and decor, I've noticed that the boho trends are kind of fading, even though I think you can still incorporate some boho touches. But what I'm seeing a lot of is a little bit more of a minimalist look. And a good way to do that is to have less color. So we're getting rid of some of those really bold colors. We're seeing less purples, less reds. We're seeing more muted tones, or even people that are just doing black and white and maybe some greenery just to fill in. So less color, and then a really nice way to decorate that is using a lot of white flowers and drapery. So you can get yards and yards of draping fabric for a really affordable price, and incorporating that with white florals is a really great way to decorate your space, make it feel fresh and open and a little bit more minimalistic, instead of maybe overdoing the multicolored centerpieces, the brides all in different outfits with different colors. If you're trying to stick with something that's a little bit more clean aesthetic, I think using black, white, and greenery is a great way just to give yourself a really elegant kind of high-end look and not overdo things. So on the other end of that, another thing we're seeing is weddings with a dress code or a theme, and I think this one is really fun. I actually just did a wedding recently, and it was kind of a fantasy spring court. If you're a book girly and you read ACOTAR, any of that series, then you know about the spring court and you know it's a whole vibe. And her wedding was in the spring. She had kind of a fantasy spring court ACOTAR vibe going on. So this is, think like lots of pastel colors. All the bridesmaids were in different shades of pastel. They had corset backs on all of their dresses. It was a little bit like fantasy, think Lord of the Rings, the Shire type of theme, and it was absolutely gorgeous. It was one of my favorite weddings I've ever done. She looked like an absolute queen, and all of her bridesmaids had these gorgeous dresses, and again with the corset backs and everything, the decor had a really kind of earthy, woodsy feel, and it was so beautiful. So if you're thinking you want to go with a little bit of a theme, absolutely do it. I think a theme also speaks to, again, you and your spouse. It creates something that's unique, something that is special just between you, your spouse, and tells your love story. So anything you can do to tell your love story and kind of show the uniqueness of your relationship and incorporate things that are special to you and your spouse is definitely something that you should be doing. Another trend that we're still seeing and that I think will continue on as kind of a standard in the wedding industry is the docu-editorial photography. That is how I describe myself, as a documentary slash editorial photographer. That means that you are taking a lot of candids, you're documenting the day. However, during those bridal portraits, couples photos, bridal party photos, you're styling those as far as you're posing your guests. You're posing your bride, groom, the guests that are there, and you're doing it in kind of an editorial way, and this is kind of inspired by like magazine poses. So to me, that's the best way to do it, is document most of your day, but in those moments where you need to be posed, using kind of an editorial type of vibe for your posing. So that is my style. I think it gives your gallery the most flexibility. So you've got these lovely photos of you, your family, your friends, your spouse, everyone enjoying your wedding day. And then also you've got these beautiful posed photos of you and your spouse. Posing is really important because you want those touch point moments of like the intimate, close, almost kisses, the hands on the face, you know. So I think having someone to structure those poses for you, but also capture all of the real moments of your day is really special. Another trend we're seeing a lot this year is floral installations. So everyone always is going to have their bouquet, maybe some florals on the aisle, and then some florals for your centerpieces. But we're getting really wild with the floral installations, and it's something that I'm loving. I'm seeing full arches done out of flowers. I'm seeing hanging florals from the ceiling, different things like this. So letting your florist get really creative and talking to them about some different concepts is going to be something that you can get really creative with. And I would definitely encourage you to talk to your florist, see if they've got any ideas that maybe they want to try out or something that they've been wanting to do in the creative side, and see what they come up with, because there are so many fun things you can do with florals that really add a lot to your wedding and your reception area. So floral installations is something I'm loving so far, and I think we'll see more of in the future. Another trend that I'm seeing is interactive food and drinks. This is something that I think is really fun and something you can talk to your caterer about. So a buffet line is pretty typical, or maybe it's a seated dinner where you're hiring someone to come serve all of your guests per plate. But the interactive things that they're doing now is so much fun. Some people are having food trucks come to their venue. Some people are bringing in people that walk around and serve ice cream or cannolis. I've seen people with, strapped up with a actual serving mat hooked to them like a harness, and they'll walk around with cannolis and fill them right in front of the guests. They can do different flavors, different things like this. I just went to a wedding that had an Italian soda bar that was amazing. They had all these different flavored syrups, and they had the recipes on the whiteboard behind them, and you could just make whatever kind of Italian soda you wanted. I had never had it before. They are so good. So getting something that's a little bit more creative with your food, even if you just want it to be, a special drink that you really love, or maybe a special dessert kind of thing. Talk to your caterers, see what they offer, see if there's anything trending. And another thing you can do is bringing food trucks. Food trucks, I think, are a great option because it's mobile. You can get someone that is local and creative. A lot of these food truck owners are so passionate about the food that they make. So check it out, talk to some local vendors, and definitely see if you can do something a little bit more creative and meaningful with your dinner instead of the standard buffet. So that is all I have for now for trends. We'll be back next time with an interview with a videographer, a local wedding videographer named Marcus. I hope you guys join in next time, and I will see you later.